All right, so in a previous explainer, we covered the what of greenhouse gas frameworks, the basic skeleton of how you measure things. Well, today we are adding the muscle. We're going to move from theory to actual practice and figure out how to build a GHG accounting system that's truly audit grade.
And this quote right here, it really hits the nail on the head. The days of just coming up with ballpark figures, they are long gone. You've got pressure coming from everywhere, investors, regulators, your customers, and they're all demanding real, verifiable data. Especially if you're in a complex industry like manufacturing or logistics, good enough just doesn't cut it anymore.
So our goal today is simple. We're giving you the practical steps to build that strong, robust system. We're getting into the real nuts and bolts of how it's done. And we're going to start with the most common pitfall out there.
Let's start with something that might feel a little too familiar for many of you. It's the tool where so many of these big initiatives begin, but it's also where they often start to fall apart. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the spreadsheet. It's a common starting point for sure, but it becomes a huge liability fast. I mean, imagine you're trying to track thousands of shipments or a really complex supply chain. One broken formula, one little misplaced decimal, and your entire report is toast. So, the solution is moving to dedicated emissions management software, or integrated modules inside your existing ERP systems. And this is a massive shift in what you can do. You go from manual data entry to automation, from basically guesswork to crystal clear audit trails, and from a once-a-year report to seeing what's happening in real time. That right there is a game changer. Okay, so you've got the right tools in place. Now what? How do you actually calculate the numbers? Let's get into the two core methods, because knowing which one to use, and more importantly, when, is an absolutely vital skill. So here are your two main options. First up is the spend-based method. It's pretty simple. You just take how much money you spent and multiply it by an industry average emissions factor. It's fast, gets you a high-level picture, but there's a big catch. Let's say fuel prices spike one year. Well, your report might show higher emissions even if you shipped way less stuff. Now, the gold standard is activity-based. This uses actual operational data. Liters of fuel burned, kilowatt hours used, ton kilometers traveled. This is how you prove real progress. The only catch? It's way more data intensive. The calculation method is crucial, of course, but the data you're feeding into it is just as important. The next layer of accuracy really comes down to where you're getting your information. First, you've got secondary data. This is where you use established industry-wide averages from trusted frameworks, like GeoLec for logistics. It's a really reliable way to approximate things and fill in the gaps, especially for those super tricky Scope 3 emissions that come from suppliers you don't actually control. But then there's the ultimate goal, primary data. This isn't an average. This is the actual specific emissions report directly from your carrier or your supplier. This is your ground truth. And for an industry like, say, renewable energy, this is totally non-negotiable. You can't just claim your product is green if you're just guessing about its supply chain. You have to know. Now, I get it. This might all sound a bit overwhelming. You've got different methods, different data types. It's easy to feel like you need a perfect system from day one. But the key here is to be strategic. This whole thing is a journey, not a light switch you just flip on. And that brings us to this idea, which is so important. The most critical thing you can do is just start. Don't let the hunt for a flawless, 100% perfect system stop you from taking that first step. Measurement is truly an evolution. So here's how you do it smartly. Step 1, map your entire footprint using the simpler spend-based methods to get that complete big picture view. Step 2, use that map to find your hotspots, the 20% of your activities that are probably causing 80% of your emissions. And then step 3, that's when you refine with precision. You target those hotspots with the more intense activity-based methods and start hunting down that super valuable primary data. It's efficient, it's strategic, and most importantly, it's achievable. So let's say you've done it. You've built the system, you're accurately measuring your footprint. Well, that leads you right to the next, and maybe the most challenging question of all. What are the financial implications? You now officially have the blueprint for an audit-grade system. You've got the tools, the methods, and the data strategy. That is a massive step forward. But with great data comes, great responsibility and some pretty tough decisions. Your accurate new system is going to highlight choices. And a lot of times, the greener shipping lane, the more sustainable material, or the renewable energy contract, it just comes with a higher price tag. Which brings us to a really critical question. And that question revolves around this concept, the green premium. It's simply the extra cost that comes with choosing the more sustainable option. And I can tell you right now, how to handle this premium is one of the most hotly debated topics happening in boardrooms all around the world. So next time, we're going to tackle how you justify that green premium. We'll explore how you can make the case that decarbonization isn't just a cost center, but actually a strategic investment. We'll see you then.